Welcome back to everyone, where we break down the biggest crypto stories shaping the market right now. And today we've got a very interesting development unfolding around XRP that's starting to catch the attention of traders, analysts, and even institutional investors across the crypto space. While most of the market has been focused on the struggles happening around Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, XRP has quietly been moving in the opposite direction, attracting fresh money, showing signs of new network activity, and potentially setting up for something much bigger if this momentum continues. Right now, XRP is holding near the $1.37 level, and although the overall crypto market remains under pressure, new data coming from ETF flows and blockchain analytics suggests that some investors may be rotating their capital away from Bitcoin and Ethereum and into XRP instead. That alone is enough to turn heads, because during periods when the two largest cryptocurrencies are bleeding money, seeing XRP attract strong inflows becomes a story that the market simply cannot ignore anymore. Over the last week alone, XRP-linked investment products reportedly attracted around $42 million in net inflows. And that's happening at a time when U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs have seen more than $1.4 billion leaving those funds. Ethereum-related products have also struggled, continuing to lose assets as traders remain cautious about the broader market outlook. So naturally, people are beginning to ask an important question right now. Is this the early stage of a larger rotation into XRP? Or is it simply a temporary speculative move while traders look for short-term opportunities away from Bitcoin and Ethereum? That debate is heating up quickly because the numbers are becoming harder to ignore. XRP products reportedly brought in another $8.88 million during the latest session alone, extending a streak of positive inflows that included more than $18 million on May 14th and nearly $11 million on May 15th. Those are not small numbers, especially during a period where fear and uncertainty are still dominating much of the crypto market. At the same time, Bitcoin has been struggling to maintain strong bullish momentum, despite remaining above the $77,000 level, and Ethereum continues to face heavy pressure as investors question where the next major catalyst will come from. According to the latest market data, Bitcoin ETFs experienced another daily outflow exceeding $100 million, and this followed several massive redemptions earlier in the week, including sessions showing outflows of more than $600 million, $330 million, and nearly $300 million. When money begins leaving the biggest crypto investment products while alternative assets like XRP start attracting fresh capital, traders immediately start searching for the reason behind that shift. Some analysts believe investors are hunting for assets with stronger upside potential, while others think XRP's growing relevance in the ETF conversation may finally be pushing institutional interest to another level altogether. What makes this situation even more interesting is the sudden spike in XRP wallet creation that appeared almost out of nowhere. Blockchain analytics firm Santiment, https://santiment.net/? UTM_source equals chatgpt.com, revealed that XRP experienced one of its biggest daily surges in wallet growth this year, with around 4,300 new wallets being created within just 24 hours. That marked the fourth largest daily spike for XRP wallet creation so far this year, and naturally the crypto community started paying very close attention to that number. Fresh wallet activity often signals new participants entering a network, especially when that activity appears alongside strong capital inflows. It can suggest growing interest, new investors accumulating positions, or traders preparing for a larger move. However, analysts are also warning traders not to get carried away too quickly, because one strong day of wallet growth does not automatically confirm long-term adoption or a sustained bullish trend. The broader trend on the Santiment chart still shows XRP network growth remaining weaker compared to the highs seen back in late 2025. That's why the market remains divided right now. On one side, XRP supporters believe this could be the beginning of a much larger breakout period for the token, especially if institutional investors continue diversifying away from Bitcoin and Ethereum. On the other side, skeptics argue that this could simply be a short-term speculative burst, fueled by traders chasing momentum during a difficult market environment. But regardless of which side ends up being correct, one thing is absolutely clear at this point. XRP is once again becoming part of the main conversation in crypto markets, and after months of many traders focusing mainly on Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum narratives, XRP is suddenly pulling attention back toward itself in a major way. What's also important here is the timing of all this activity. The broader crypto market has been dealing with increasing macroeconomic uncertainty, regulatory pressure, liquidation waves, and concerns about slowing momentum across major digital assets. Yet despite all that uncertainty, XRP is showing relative strength compared to many competitors. Sometimes during periods of market stress, investors start rotating toward assets they believe may have stronger catalysts ahead. And many XRP supporters believe ongoing discussions around XRP-related ETFs could become one of those catalysts. Even though the market still faces uncertainty, traders are watching closely because historically, when money begins moving into alternative crypto assets while Bitcoin stagnates, it can sometimes signal the early stages of changing market sentiment. Meanwhile, Bitcoin volatility has reportedly dropped to its lowest level in nearly 7 months, and that's another important detail that traders are paying attention to right now. Normally, when markets face macroeconomic risks, traders expect volatility to rise sharply. But instead, Bitcoin has been trading in an unusually calm range, despite major headlines surrounding global markets and crypto regulation. Some analysts believe growing institutional demand and large-scale option strategies are suppressing volatility expectations, while others think the market may simply be waiting for the next major catalyst before making a decisive move. Either way, XRP gaining traction during this calm but uncertain environment is becoming one of the more interesting stories developing in crypto right now. Another thing worth mentioning is how investor psychology changes during uncertain markets. When Bitcoin and Ethereum dominate headlines with negative ETF flows and price pressure, traders often begin searching for alternative narratives that feel fresh, exciting, and potentially undervalued. XRP has always had one of the most passionate communities in crypto, and moments like this tend to amplify that energy significantly. Social media discussions surrounding XRP have been increasing again, and many traders are now speculating about whether this renewed attention could translate into stronger price momentum if inflows continue building over the coming weeks. Of course, speculation alone is never enough to guarantee sustained rallies, but sentiment plays a massive role in crypto markets, and XRP sentiment has clearly started shifting again. Now, one reason analysts remain cautious despite these positive developments is because broader network growth still appears weaker compared to previous peaks. The Santiment data showed that although the wallet spike was impressive for a single day, overall growth trends have generally declined since late 2025. That means analysts want to see whether this latest surge can continue over multiple weeks instead of fading quickly after initial excitement. Sustained adoption requires consistency, not just isolated spikes. If wallet growth continues increasing while ETF inflows remain positive, then the bullish case for XRP becomes much stronger. But if the wallet activity cools down rapidly, then critics may argue this was simply another temporary burst driven by speculation rather than true adoption growth. At the same time, XRP's resilience around the $1.37 level has also become a key focus for traders. Holding important price levels during broader market weakness often gives investors confidence that buyers remain active underneath the surface. If XRP can continue maintaining support while attracting new capital, analysts believe it could position itself for a stronger breakout attempt later this year. But traders are also aware that crypto markets remain extremely volatile, and sudden reversals can happen quickly, especially during uncertain macro conditions. That's why many investors are approaching the market carefully, balancing optimism with caution while monitoring both ETF flows and on-chain activity very closely. Elsewhere in the crypto world, several other major stories continue shaping investor sentiment right now. https://polymarket.com/UTM_source=chatgpt.com is reportedly aiming for prediction market approval in Japan by 2030, highlighting how rapidly the prediction market sector continues expanding globally, despite increasing regulatory scrutiny in multiple regions. At the same time, India has reportedly intensified crackdowns on prediction markets, with some platforms already facing restrictions. Meanwhile, as reportedly filed with the SEC for a potential US IPO, which many analysts see as another sign that crypto companies continue pushing toward deeper integration with traditional financial markets, despite ongoing uncertainty across the industry. There's also been growing discussion surrounding institutional crypto maturity as Bitcoin's implied volatility continues declining. Some analysts argue this reflects Bitcoin evolving into a more stable institutional asset with deeper liquidity and broader participation from major financial players. Others believe the calm conditions may not last forever and warn that volatility could eventually return aggressively once a major macro event or regulatory decision hits the market. That uncertainty is exactly why traders are keeping a close eye on assets like XRP that appear to be attracting fresh interest during periods when larger assets are struggling to generate excitement. One of the most fascinating aspects of crypto markets is how quickly narratives can shift. Just weeks ago, much of the focus centered almost entirely around Bitcoin ETF performance and Ethereum ecosystem concerns. But now, XRP is suddenly finding itself back in the spotlight as inflows rise and wallet activity surges. Crypto traders are always searching for momentum, and when data begins supporting a new narrative, attention can shift very rapidly. Whether this XRP momentum becomes sustainable or not remains the big question, but the market is clearly paying attention again, and sometimes attention itself becomes a powerful catalyst in crypto. Some traders are already speculating that if XRP-related investment products continue attracting capital while Bitcoin ETFs remain under pressure, larger institutional investors may begin diversifying their exposure more aggressively. Others believe traders may simply be rotating temporarily into XRP while waiting for clearer signals from the broader market. Either way, XRP's recent performance relative to the rest of the market has become difficult to dismiss. The combination of ETF inflows, wallet growth, and relative price stability is creating a narrative that many investors feel could evolve into something much bigger if conditions continue improving. At the same time, experienced traders know that crypto markets often test investor emotions. Sudden surges in excitement can lead to overly aggressive expectations, and that's why many analysts continue stressing the importance of watching the actual data rather than getting carried away by hype alone. The next few weeks could become extremely important for XRP because sustained inflows and continued network growth would strengthen the bullish case dramatically. But if momentum fades and inflows slow down, then the market may interpret the recent activity as only a temporary speculative wave. Either outcome remains possible, which is why traders across the industry are monitoring XRP very carefully right now. Still, there's no denying that XRP has managed to inject fresh energy into crypto discussions during a period where much of the market has felt uncertain and cautious. Whenever a digital asset starts outperforming expectations while larger competitors struggle, people naturally begin asking whether something bigger may be happening beneath the surface. XRP supporters believe this could mark the beginning of a major new phase for the asset, especially if institutional adoption narratives continue strengthening. Skeptics remain unconvinced for now, but even they acknowledge that the recent data has been impossible to ignore completely. As we move deeper into 2026, the battle for investor attention across crypto markets is only becoming more intense. Bitcoin remains the dominant force in the industry, Ethereum continues fighting through its own challenges, and XRP is now pushing itself back into the spotlight with fresh inflows and growing speculations surrounding institutional interest. The coming weeks will likely determine whether this momentum continues building or fades away like many short-lived crypto narratives before it. But one thing is certain right now, XRP has re-entered the conversation in a very serious way, and traders across the entire crypto market are watching closely to see what happens next.